Hello everybody, my name is Noah, and today we're going to be continuing to look at a scenario where civilization starts over. Now, in our last episode, episode 3, we actually saw a lot done. As you can see, the German Confederation is now gone. It has been replaced with Prussia and the Cacavellians, who have definitely made a name for themselves. Let's check their sizes. So I think that's kind of a fun thing to do. Oh, tolerance down. There we go. Okay, so they are almost 40,000. Wow, okay. So we have seen great expansions today, and we've also seen a lot of new states like Ireland, Fredonia, Estonia, Pomerania, Poland, Transylvania. We have not this is Almeridia. We have Granada. We have a good amount of new states. We also have Baikal. And these Indian states, we have Red India, Solaria, and Gondwana. Just to remind everyone. So yeah, we're going to see major changes today. There should be, well, maybe not major change. Well, we'll have to see. I'm still kind of thinking. Um, so let's pull up a new map I just made. I just made this a second ago. Let's turn on major cities first, so we have all the major cities. But I have created a trade route map. I want to remind everybody, the year is, I would say, 500 to 600 AD. At least in comparison to our time. Jesus Christ probably did not exist in this timeline. But, so basically, we can see the trade routes coming from, like, Chinese regions, going through Central Asia, into, like, a lot of Persian regions. What these golden circles mean, are, like, how prosperous when they're, because obviously you're gonna have very prosperous cities. Like I'm sure, what's it called? I'm sure like Crete is pretty prosperous from the trade. However, these golden ones are the extremely rich cities due to the trades. So as you can see, obviously the Radu are extremely wealthy because everything has to go through them. So they, because of this, are becoming extremely wealthy, along with the Persians, because this trade route, this Caspian trade route, it ends over here. So there's not much going through, due to the Caucasus Mountains in the way. But over here, thankfully for the Persians, they actually have two major zones, and not including this one, which isn't in their borders, but well, it slightly is, but not fully. It's kind of like meeting up with theirs, but it still funnels down to them eventually. But they have two major, so I would say the most powerful countries on Earth. Let's actually do a ranking. Number one, I would say, yeah, Iran or Persia, whatever you want to call it. I would say Iran is the most powerful and wealthy nation on Earth. Second place, China. We'll just call them China because they basically encompass all of China at this point. I think 2 is China. 3, definitely the Cacavellians. The Cacavellians are 3. 4 is Egypt. And 5 is the Byzantines. So, yeah, this is the current top 5 ranking. Actually, I would put, honestly, I would put the Radu above the Byzantines for number 5. Yeah, so I'll put the Radu there, and then we'll make 6. That would be the Byzantines. 7, I mean, yeah, I'd say 7 could be like, it doesn't really matter, because the farther you go, the less, more arbitrary it gets. Like 7 could be Pontus, it could be Roar, it could be, you know, it could be the Omani. It's really just arbitrary list if we go even further. But I would say definitively that these are the top 6 most powerful countries on Earth. Over in Southeast Asia, we will actually finally see more exploration into these mountainous regions. Finally, coming over here, we'll finally explore this into like, Vietnam, Cambodia, all these Southeast Asian countries, or at least in the modern real world. But yeah, we will finally see exploration, and we will actually see this whole region being discovered, allowing contact. In this Myanmar region, we'll see more exploration, but this will allow for new opportunities between China and India. Gondwana will go into this kind of Bangladesh area and fully take, or not fully take it, but they'll go up. It's a very, very fertile region. It allows for a lot of like population growth. In their core regions, they will actually come up a bit more, kind of thickening their borders over here. They're going to take this entire massive region. So they've grown like several times just now. Solaria will also expand. They'll expand up into these little areas right here. Sort of like cutting off this Red Indian nation. Mind you, these two really don't like each other. They see each other as major competitors. And with that, the red team will also begin to further expand. But now they are basically blockaded from the sea by the colonial claims of the blue team. I don't see this becoming a problem at any sort of time. Gondwana will continue to come up this region. They are becoming absolutely giant, like monsters. But they are going to continue to come up this region. Like I said, they're becoming very, very powerful very, very quickly, which is not always the best thing, but I guess in their case, they have not done. And also, this will probably be over a long time because I've really been focusing on like a lot of Europe. Yeah, so that is current Gondwana over here. The colonial claim of Oman is becoming progressively more unstable. And with that, we will see a breakoff group form over here. Now, these guys are actually closer related to the Persians than they are to the actual like Indian ethnic group. So we're definitely going to see like a bit of a, not like they're not going to be like sending anything over, but they're going to like, they'd rather this than the Omani. But as you can see, there are ethnic Omani in this region. So they will continue further down until the Omani will actually meet them with their own military force, cutting off this region before shooting back up, especially along the shores. Red India will actually take these southern areas, making a very large and very wide front. Sorry, I forgot that for a second there. Before actually kind of cutting it off and shrinking this front so it's a lot more manageable. A lot of these settlements, they're not massive settlements. I mean, there's probably a lot of massive cities here, but they will actually begin to. They're not really even like fighting anyone mostly because a lot of, like I said, a lot of the military is focused up here, and a lot of these people are ethnically part of the actual Indian group. They will just kind of leave before the Solari actually step in to the Red Indian cities. The Red Indians will respond by removing a good amount of their troops out of the Blue Team's borders before beginning to focus their military on the current incursion from Solaria. The Solari actually have different plans, though. They will send troops to these islands and make a naval invasion on the coastal city and begin to siege it and its surrounding, basically, areas before finally taking it after a few months of a siege. And with that, the red team will surrender and also take all of their troops out of the Omani colonial claim. The peace treaty will look a little something like this. So the Red Indians have been absolutely crushed and essentially just castrated. This entire region up here has been cut off so the Solari can continue their break in over here. We will actually see another Indian state form in this central region. I think we'll just call it Central India because it's just in the center of India, but it will encompass this entire region here. We'll just give them all that. Let's give them their capital. Their capital will go right here. There we go. This is Central India. So as you can see, after this war, we have seen the establishment of a new state, and Red India has been very, very, very crushed over here. Solaria, ever so just ready to destroy more and more, will actually begin to invade and basically just do the job that the Red Indians wanted to do and invade the Omani. They will come over here before taking this entire region and coming up further. They, similarly to the Omani, are actually navally very, very powerful. They are very, very powerful naval empires. So they will actually continue to come up here. I mean, I know this isn't naval warfare, but this is kind of like the same thing that happened with the red team, where a lot of these guys are ethnically Indian, so they will just kind of rather be taxed by the Solari than the Omani. But in these more actual ethnic Omani regions, we will see them begin to crush in. Over here on this front, the Omani will push further until they see the Solarian Empire, who is beginning to encroach on their ethnically Omani land, in which they will fight. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know why I apologize. I was putting the right thing. Anywho, we will see them push even further and much harder than over here. As they continue to push, especially along the shore, they will actually be met with a very, very powerful nation. Remember, they have a major trading hub. So do the Omani over here. But remember, this is all that's going to India. All that's going to India, because the trade route here has not been built or constructed yet, all ends here with India. So they gather a lot of wealth here. So they will actually push further and further into the Omani regions, continuing into this major city over here and taking this horn. The capital city of the Indian colony, which is this city, this major city right here, is now being threatened with this whole region coming under Omani control. These pink kind of North Indian groups, these like kind of Pakistan region, we'll just call them Pakistan, they will continue their fight and now push into and take the rest of this region, while the Solari take all of this before finally sieging and taking the capital colonial city. The Omani, however, will not agree to a peace deal and continue to fight, making a landing in this horn and pushing and taking this major colonial city and further into this gulf over here. The Solari are not a weak nation, though. They may be relatively young compared to Oman, who I believe is the second oldest nation on Earth, but they will send their own navy all the way from here. They will send their own navy into Oman and begin to siege the city, taking it rather quickly, because the Omani, because of their age and how long they've lived, they very much doubt the ability of such a young nation. But the Solari will actually crush into the Omani regions, cutting off two entire sections of their land. Seizing the opportunity, the red team finally will do something, and they will begin to attack and invade into the blue team, into Oman. The Qatari are officially actually doing something for once again. Yay! Yay for them. The Omani, luckily for them, they will split this and finally meet back up with this region. Even with that, though, the Solarians are kind of like a disease. Like, they just spread. And they will navally invade this coastal city, taking all of the southern reach. And they will just continue to spread. This is kind of how, I guess this is their tactic. They will just begin to spread from regions and regions. Because I guess they're just that, like, navally superior. But they will then come over to this region with their, like, just galleys and massive ships and take this major trade outpost. This will throw off the balance with Persia, who will not have an immediate response, but they will definitely not like the Solari threat. Over here, the Solari will continue on until taking this city and cutting this region off, with the the Qatari taking this. This horn over here will be fully taken by the Solarians, completely not annexing them yet, obviously, but they will definitely take that region. Over here, they will continue the fight toward the Omani capital. And if you can't tell from how bad they're just fumbling this war, the Omani are freaking out. The Solari are not only, they are absolutely brutal. Like, they mass murder cities. They will go full scorched earth and burn everything down. They do not play. They will crush. They will kill women, children, all men. They will take the women. They will take the children. They will imprison them, put them into slavery. They are absolutely abhorrent, in at least warfare-wise. And they will continue on in this region. Oh, sorry about that. They will continue on in this region, pushing down into the Omani capital over here and encircling this city. Finally, the forces of the Omani will fight back and enclose this entire group of Solari military, and they will completely destroy them. And they will again waste their military and attempt to make an invasion on this horn. I don't know why they would try to do this again, but this invasion, this naval invasion, will absolutely fail again before the Solari make another naval invasion of their own, cutting the city off from the ocean and beginning to encircle it. The red team, with their kind of fever of strength over here, they will, or what they think is strength, they will actually declare war on the Solari and invade what was probably under Omani control. So this is kind of like a three-way war over here. They will take all of this, not being able to take this major city, but they will continue down into this desert region. I believe this is kind of desert. And they will do this before being pushed back by the just great might of the Solari Empire. Even pushing back towards what was originally only their claim, taking this city and completely smashing all of this. So as you can see, the Solari are absolutely just ruthless. In fact, they're so ruthless that they will take the entirety of the southern region of Oman. Right here, they will begin their invasion into Qatar, but the walls of Qatar are actually extremely powerful, so they won't be able to actually siege the main city, but they will make their way up before overstretching a bit and knowing that they made their mark on the Qatari, who in fact actually surrender and are given all their land back. That was kind of just a way to show that this land is their occupation, not that of the Qatari. Over here in Oman, we will see the capital city actually completely fall. And this kind of signals to the world, because remember, the Omani are a major trading empire. Everyone knows the Omani. Everyone comes through to trade into India. But as you can see, this sends a shockwave throughout planet Earth. Every single civilization, pretty much every single civilization hears about this. And they go absolutely insane because this is the second oldest nation on Earth being absolutely destroyed by this relatively new country. And with that, we will see the surrender of Oman. So, just to kind of look over it a bit, the entirety of Oman is now under Solari occupation. This, or rather, well, not all of it. This little, we have Pakistan right here. But overall, yeah, they were absolutely smashed by the Solari. So the Solari have now become pretty infamous throughout the planet. Because remember, this is like the messenger, this is like the mailman being killed. This is like the mailman that everybody knows and everybody waves to being shot dead. This is a major, major and horrifying encounter, frankly. The capital city, this is probably the worst. This is probably the most death we've seen in human history. We will see mass death, like on par with some of the worst sackings in history, at least in like early or late antiquity, early medieval history. We will see just mass kidnappings. Some things I probably can't actually say on YouTube. We will see horrific things happen to the Omani. With the official surrender of the Omani, let's take a look at the peace deal, or peace deal with very large quotations. Let's look at the quote-unquote peace deal between the Omani and Solari. So after this disastrous war, we will see the peace deal look a little something like this. Solaria will gain all of this, all of the colonial Indian claims. So now Oman has literally nothing. And we'll also see the creation of Pakistan. But over here, we will even see the Solari take inner regions, including the most prosperous region of Oman, crippling their economy to a point never seen before. So with this, the Solarians now have 2 golden points on their side. So they have really, really made a name for themselves. They are one of the most powerful countries on Earth already. With just one war, the tide of planet Earth has changed immensely. Over here in this city, belonging to this kind of teal Radu country, we will see a disease begin. Now, the Radu people, they're not exactly affected by this disease. It's just like a common thing. It's kind of existed for a while, but it seems to be spreading a bit more. To them, it really does not affect them all that too much. Because, it's kind of just like a common cold to them. But this disease is what we like to call the bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death. Now, in these Radu regions, they will kind of just, it'll just expand. It won't do too much to them, it's just kind of expanding through cities. A lot of trading areas, it'll spread to, just kind of going back and forth, even up to Baikal. We'll see it kind of shoot out with a lot of, there's probably like warfare skirmishes between some groups, like tribes, stuff like that. They'll probably be like fighting a bit, but yeah, we'll see this disease, spread over time, but nonetheless, it'll be spreading. And obviously, to these people, it's a pretty common occurrence, so they've become pretty immune to the disease. So overall, because they actually have they have pretty good cleanliness practices, we will definitely see them, survive the disease. They already have like a genetic predisposition to immunity because they kind of this whole their people are not they're an ancient people. They've been with this Black Death for a long time. So yeah, we'll just see it kind of spread out over time. I kind of like it like this kind of dark green color a little more. It looks kind of gross. So yeah, we'll do that. I'll just kind of have it spread a bit more, eventually taking up this entire Khanate up here, you know. To them, like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like a major crazy thing. But but as winters get colder, you know, migration is a thing after all. So as we can see, the Khanates are pretty much completely just disease ridden. Even then, they're rather clean people. They clean themselves. They're um not too bad, but I can see this becoming a bit of an issue later. Back over in Galicia, right here, we will have the Irish actually try to make another invasion. Because remember, the Galicians are ethnically closely related to the Irish. So we will see. Oh God! All right, this is what it looks like without the borders. Anywho, sorry about that. We will see the Irish attempt another invasion. We will see the Irish attempt another invasion. This one definitely going a lot more successfully. They will take the city from the Almeridians, and essentially the Almeridians. So they've probably been skirmishing for a couple hundred years. They're basically the Vikings. They will kind of just plunder and destroy. They've plundered the Cacavellians, the Pomeranians. They've plundered the Fedonians. They've plundered the Egyptians, the Moroccans, the Grenadins. But they really, really love to plunder the Almeridians, which is very aggravating. They also plunder like the Crete nation, the Byzantines. They'll probably go through the Black Sea sometimes, or up here through like this river. This is actually how like what's it called? Kievan Rus formed. Because Vikings would come down here, and Vikings originally controlled it before the Slavic people took control. Or at least I believe that's what happened. But yeah, they'll come into the Black Sea sometimes. They'll pillage and destroy, but they love going down here into the Bay of Biscay and taking this upper region. So the Almeridians will actually make a deal with the Irish. I want to mention the Irish are not like they have like a king, but it's kind of like the Holy Roman Empire, kind of like the German Confederation, where they're more of like just a bunch of tribes and families who want to just spread out, but they all kind of listen to the laws of the king. But the Almeridians will actually allow this settlement to come under the control of the Irish. So let's look at this deal. So the peace deal will look a little something like this. If you are confused, don't worry, that makes complete sense. But essentially, they are under the kind of laws of the Irishmen, but under the sovereignty of the Almeridians. So essentially, these two create an alliance. So let's take a look at this alliance. So we will make the Heart Alliance. And the reason why it is a heart alliance is because the princess, the daughter of the king of Almeridia, was married off to basically the Irish king. So they basically have created their own military alliance, and this will become a very perfect union, frankly, for the Almeridians, because they now have a bunch of bandits and a bunch of people who love to destroy, steal, and plunder on their side. So rather than plundering Almeridia anymore, they will begin to plunder, right? They'll plunder a lot, but all the things they plunder are also going to go to Almeridia. So Almeridia made basically the perfect choice here. So when it comes to trade, obviously I haven't updated. I'll probably update it after the video. But we will see, trade from a lot of Almeridian coastal cities like this one, or this one. Trading with both this land area right here that they own. But also they'll go back and forth between each other. Creating basically a perfect economic... Well, it's not an economic alliance, but it's basically a perfect kind of military and partnership alliance here that we have going on. So, despite All Meridian not really getting much from, at least directly from the continental trade, the Silk Road trade, they are still basically getting the Irish to come into the Mediterranean. So now the Irish can easily go in and out without fighting, but they allow them to go in and out and plunder basically all the rich places, like this city, Tunisia, Crete, the Byzantines. They can plunder everyone they want. The Egyptians, everyone they want. And they don't even have direct trade, or at least not good trade. They don't have any, golden circles. They don't have anything like that. They don't have any major trade coming in, but they still are making a good amount of money from this. You know who isn't making a good amount of money out of this? The rest of Europe. Well, these guys, like the Pontics, the Byzantines, Crete, the Cacavellians, the Almeridians, while they get all this beautiful, beautiful trade, even the Irish people, even the Irishmen are getting trade. All they get is nothing. They get absolutely nada. Absolutely nothing. Nothing is going from the Silk Road into their cities, other than over here in Transylvania, where they have this city and this city, which I will admit, this city's extremely wealthy. Almost a golden circle, I would say. It's on the brink of being a golden circle. But these guys, especially these four up here, they're getting absolutely nothing, other than being pillaged by barbarians who are getting something, who don't deserve it. They're the farthest from the trade, but they're still getting a good amount of money from this. So, in retaliation, they will create a military alliance. We will see the Tri-Star military alliance between Fredonia, Pomerania, Poland, and Livonia. Now, I want to mention, these groups are not, they're very feudal. I'd say, feudal. Oh my god, I can't say that for this tongue twister. Feudal. I would say Transylvania is pretty feudal, but I would say these three, who have very similar kind of like Greco-Roman culture going on, they are more imperial, more like kind of hands-on. I would say the Almeridians have also developed this system, but this feudalist society, they're a lot less centralized. They're a lot more like bigger confederations, I guess. So they will basically force their people to leave. It's weird, right? They will basically get their own people to immigrate out of their country. It sounds weird now, but it'll make sense later. In cities like this one, we will see a lot of Pomeranians, a lot of Fedonians also coming up. I mean, they won't be that visible here, but we'll also see Livonians, a lot of Polish. They will come over here. Hold on, let me turn off the military alliance. We will see a lot of them come into these major cities and just not ethnically cleanse. They're just migrating so many people here that it's kind of just replacing them essentially. Over here, a lot of Cacavellians actually moved here, but they will basically be turned completely, not turned completely into anything, but really just replaced essentially. These guys will start so many settlements and just kick so many people out, and they will lose a lot of their own population in the meantime, but they honestly don't really care that much. They could really care less, because as long as they can basically displace the ethnic Cacavellian governors in these regions, they are getting what they want. That's exactly what they want. We'll see more Pomeranians and Polish people coming in over here. kind of spearheading almost. It's like it's a massive. This is a migration we have not seen yet. Any migration this big. They'll even make their ways into these like this Normandy region, which is very, very a very poor Caucavelian region, and they will begin. Oh, wrong color. They will begin to just hammer in over here and really just kind of just replace these Caucavelian populations, even in the capital zone and this small zone here and this one. They will really hammer home this immigration policy. Even going through the Alps, these settlers will come into this city, taking this kind of Switzerland region, which is already sparsely populated, but they will begin to just continue to just fully take that region, along with more regions up here, which are ethnically Germanic, but nonetheless, they're still controlled by ethnically Caucavelian governors. Over here in Catalonia, this will actually be the biggest shift. We will see most of the settlers come over here in Catalonia, meeting up with these mountains here. They'll also probably take this region, here. They will basically just fully take that entire province, really. A lot of Fedonians will begin to actually immigrate into these ethnically, like, kind of Irish Celtic and take this entire city through basically just taking governorship over and even taking a large portion, like, regions of this the capital settlement of the Caucavelians in Britain. How will the Caucavelians respond to this immigration? Well, they won't. Not immediately, that is. As they are a pretty ethnically diverse empire, they have a lot of different ethnicities. As you can see, they have a lot of Greek over here. In these regions, they have, like, Egyptians. Here, they have Grenadins. They have a lot of Almeridian. They have some Celtic. They have Celtic up here, especially. They have a lot of Germanic. And they can't. It's not really in their policy because they're built on expansion. You can't expand everywhere and expect all the people to leave. So they're relatively tolerant when it comes to other ethnic groups. This, however, the sudden rise in a lot of these Fedonians and a lot of these Polish Livonians and Pomeranians, they will not hurt anyone, but they'll get definitely frustrated with it. So in response, they will essentially blockade all of the Slavs from this region. They won't kill the people who have already immigrated, but they will block off all of them, enforcing this border a large bit, heavily, in fact. The Tri-Star Alliance, though, knew this would happen. They wanted this to happen. Nearly all of the, like, upper kind of, like, mainly, like, European, like, Northern European troops of the Caucavelians, they are all here. A lot of troops, even from Britain, are coming over here. And they knew this would happen. This is exactly what they wanted, and the Caucavelians don't realize it. The Polish and Pomeranians will ask the Transylvanians to join their military alliance, because nearly all of their militaries here blockading the massive migrations of Slavs and also Fedonians. So, they will ask the Transylvanians very nicely to join their military alliance and invade the Illyrian portion of the Caucavelian Empire, or rather Republic, when they see fit. The Transylvanians will look at this deal and say, I can't do that, I'm gonna get my ass beat by these guys, they're powerful. But they will hear about the massive, massive blockade here, and they will see very barren lands here in Illyria, in the kind of Balkan regions of the Machiavellian Republic. So they will agree to join the Tri-Star Military Alliance. Knowing the danger of if the Machiavellians were to find out about this, they will stay very, very quiet. Very, very quiet. It is an extremely secret alliance that nobody knows about, other than, obviously, the members. Don't forget, though, the Machiavellians are not on their own. They have two allies. I mean, they have one ally, essentially, one meaningful ally. So they're not weak. And this is among the strong. I believe I put this at number 6. They are pretty powerful, the Byzantines. So they're not a force to be like toyed around with. I also want to remind you, these are very feudal nations. They're not that powerful. They're pretty not weak, but I would say Pomerania is the most powerful, but even then, if the Machiavellians felt the need to, they could probably steamroll Pomerania. If they really had to, they could probably steamroll them. But they know that. Even together, they would probably have heavy pushbacks from the Machiavellians, but they know that. But the Transylvanians are a lot more powerful than them. Not combined, but they're a lot more powerful than them. They have a lot more standing. They have trade city here, I believe. Let's check. Yes, they have 2 trade cities, especially a very, very wealthy one here. So they know. They planned every single bit of this. Anywho, stepping away from these military alliances, we're doing a lot of military alliance talk. We are going to see the Fedonians continue their expansion into Scandinavia, kind of building up over here, coming along the Baltic Sea, like this, before taking this island right here and meeting up with the Livonians in Finland. They'll also take this island right here. The Polish will further their border into this region, this kind of Dnieper River region, along with like here. They'll buff this entire region before looking a little something like this. So they're pretty big now. I'm pretty sure almost all of like other, well, no, because we have the Volga. Like this is like the line of Europe right here. So Europe is a much bigger continent than most people think. Over in Southeast Asia, we will see the formation of 2 new states. We'll see Vietnam. Let's get in their capitals. We'll see Vietnam and Cambodia. We'll put their capital right there. That's just their major cities. I always put the major city before the capital, just so like, you know, if any major city, if any capital gets conquered, I can just erase it. And then, like, for example, let's say like this capital got conquered, we would just have that. Just makes it a lot easier for me, you know. As winter months get progressively colder, the Radu will expand their khanate further and further. You know, they'll put a lot of settlers along these new reaches, so they will now border these nations. And remember, they are skirmishers, so they'll be fighting with these nations. They won't go to full war with them, because they're not as centralized as a lot of other states are. We will see them definitely skirmish with the Persians and the Caspians, who they will share an even larger border with. But this will be a bit of an issue. Why is this an issue, you might ask? Well, this is why it's an issue. Because of all the skirmishes in these kind of non-trade outpost regions, we will see a lot of fighting happen. A lot of blood splurting everywhere. A lot of things I probably can't say on YouTube happening, because after all, it is warfare. You know, that type of thing does happen. It's a horrible thing. It's disgusting. And there's one country who really loves to do it. And I'm not talking about Egypt. It's right here. It loves to do it. It really loves to do it. But because of, you know, sexual transmission, you know, blood transmission, warfare, coming in contact, they will, even in these kind of more rural regions, it will spread further and further. And don't even get me started on these trade routes. They will shoot through into these golden areas. They will shoot everywhere. Everywhere. these trade routes are probably the worst. They really cause like massive like the ratings they make it worse, sure, but these trade routes are really what spreads the disease. With the major trades that they're making, the Radu will actually begin to colonize further. They're making, they're making a lot of money from, first of all, these trades and all the cities that they go to. The people just die. Like, they'll be like sieging cities and stuff. Like I'd say outskirt cities. They'll be sieging them, right? And after a few days, they'll just be confused. Why is everybody dying? It's just weird, right? So, seeing this, the Khan of they are becoming immensely huge. The Khan will actually wage war on Caspia, which is, mind you, a very old nation, but they will wage war on Caspia. They will just completely just run through and pillage all of these coastal regions, just absolutely hammering in over here before meeting up with the more urban regions along this bay over here. After short times, they will actually just come through and take these cities because the bubonic plague is ripping through them. They will crush the city here, moving through, taking the entirety of this gulf, and moving further down into the Caspian regions. Other more inland troops will kind of just pillage a lot of these regions. This is more traditional warfare because it's a lot more fair. But this is happening over like years, probably decades, where they will just take this and this Khanate. They will just smash through and basically take whatever they need to. They will fully annex both Khanates, adding them to the Radu Empire, which is growing rather threatening. It is actually kind of scary how big this thing is getting. Over here, with Baikal, they will also begin their own, like, invasion. They're not going to be going to war with the Radu, rather just kind of meeting up. This is very sparsely populated over here. But they will begin their own little... I wouldn't say they're Radu, they're just Baikalians. Baikali. I'll call them Baikali people. The Radu and the Baikali. The Baikali will further their way down. And also, with their expansion, don't forget, they too are very infected with the bubonic plague. They won't share a huge border. Remember, trade is going through a lot of their borders now, and they will actually continue along this trade route, controlling this entirety of the trade route. And now, here comes the fun part. The diseases will plow through the trade routes, crushing in, taking this entire golden city, just absolutely smashing through. They will come into the border of Ruhr. Remember, these are very rural areas right here. They it won't really spread much over here, but it will absolutely crush East Asia. It will just be a bloodbath. As you can see, East Asia is being engulfed. The entirety of Korea, other than their little island here and these two islands. Maybe that's one island. But they have been completely engulfed. China is currently being absolutely just hammered into over here with this just horrid bubonic plague that's destroying their nation. Well, not destroying. I think it's just, there's going to be a lot of crazy, just absolute falls. There won't be, we'll have to see. Over here, we'll continue. We'll take that entire region, as this is pretty much fully encompassed by the Radu. And they will continue their way down through the capital, buffing out these trade route kind of zones of infection and getting into another golden city before taking the entire coast of Persia. The disease will further go down until getting into the Kuwait Mesopotamia region and getting to another golden city. Very nice. Very, very nice. They will continue here, taking this city right here. So as you can see, the disease is spreading very rapidly through the trade routes. Focusing back on their war, the Radu will come in further, taking over here, and with the use of horse archers, they are just absolutely plowing through and taking these cities. And also, don't forget, the disease is dropping the population in the Middle East rapidly. They will take the capital city before almost the entirety of Caspia comes under their control and surrenders, with this region surrendering. So it will end up looking like this. The Caspians are destroyed. That is one of the oldest nations on Earth gone because of the Radu. So as you can see, the two Central Asian nations of Radu and Baikal, they are really spreading out, and the Radu have taken one of the oldest nations on Earth. A break-off nation formed. We'll just call it Azerbaijan. We'll call this nation Kurdistan from now on, because it really is not Azerbaijan. It's more Kurdistan kind of region. So we'll call this Kurdistan, and this is Azerbaijan. But everyone just getting over the threat of the Solari and how new nations form and how they will outcompete the old, which the Egyptians are very afraid of, because they're old. They're very old. They're very afraid of that. They are now met with the threat of the Radu Empire, who are becoming increasingly more dangerous, along with the massive disease that's spreading around. Tensions around the world are rising. Explorers from Solaria will actually expand out into like the Southeast Asian regions, finding these islands. I believe they're part of Myanmar in real life. They will find those islands. They will also find the Maldives for coming back up. Remove that. Back over here, they will continue. I believe this island is called Java. Maybe this is Java. I forgot. I'll probably put the name up. But yeah, we'll see them actually discover the Southeast Asian island, and also part of Malaysia. I believe that's part of Malaysia, and then Myanmar has part of this area. They will continue their discovery along this region. In fact, they will actually colonize these discovered regions as well. Right there. So they have that island, this island, and part of this much larger island here. Even coming up right here in Myanmar. So as you can see, they are becoming a very wide empire. Let's actually lasso. Yeah, as you can see, they have claims here, claims here. They're basically becoming the new Omani. Speaking of the Omani, they will see the Solari completely outcompeting them in India and even new Southeast Asian regions. So they will begin a new region, or find a new region to colonize, essentially. Africa, the Horn of Africa. They will find this Socotra island. I believe that's what it's called, Socotra. And take this kind of Somalian horn coming in over here. We will have further exploration into Africa, which I believe should have happened. Okay. Change of story. There are a lot of people in Africa. They just haven't really, like, created any states yet, which is going to change now. But yeah, as you can see, they will explore further and further into Africa, finding these kind of like Ethiopian mountain regions. I did not do that much with Africa. I should have done a lot more with Africa. It should be like a really prosperous region at this point. But yeah, as you can see, we have them finding Lake Victoria, I believe, and just further going up into these regions and going down the coast of East Africa. So yeah, as you can see, the Omani have really gone on a mission to discover more of Africa. Like they really are trying to basically get their mojo back, you know? They lost a lot. They still have Solari troops and people in their zones. Speaking of coming to the ethnicity map, we will see Solarians begin to ethnically cleanse the Omani. When I say they're ethnically cleansing them, I mean they are expelling them, bringing them back here, or they are literally killing them and replacing them with the Solarians. They will also get rid of a lot of these Iranian-related groups kind of around this region before pushing in. This is happening over, obviously, decades of time. They will completely remove all Omani from that region and come up here even, removing them all from this city until we get to the Horn area, which is the last sort of outpost, pretty much, of the remaining Omani in India. In this post here, we will see them ethnically cleanse the city along with this city here. Now, what do the Omani do about this? Well, they do nothing, because they can't do anything. They will just further their empire of shame. What are you really going to do? There's not much you can do about what the Solari are doing, because they've been basically castrated by the Solari of doing anything of meaning. So they will continue their claims on Africa on these islands here, taking these Swahili coast regions. Oh wait, this is kind of looking like the actual Omani Empire, right? Pretty sure they had like interactions and like vassalizations of these regions, but they won't vassalize them, they will actually put them under their control. So yeah, overall, is Oman doing better than before? No, not by any means. Their empire is really just kind of scrambling to find anything. The Solari, on the other hand, are probably one of the most prosperous nations on Earth right now. You know, they don't have any plague in their country yet. Along with Gondwana, I would say Gondwana is also up there. Along with Cacavelia and Egypt, they're both also really up there. We'll have more people kind of discover these regions of Scandinavia. We'll have more exploration around the world. We'll have Finland being more and more discovered over here. This region here, along with these lakes, meeting up with this region, find this island. Up here, we will see more Irishmen come up. We'll have kind of this be like doled down. I think we'll just have that being discovered. But we'll have these regions being discovered by Irishmen up here into like the modern day Norway, like arm of Norway kind of thing. Panhandle. That's what it's called. That's what they call it. Panhandle. Over here, though, the Irish will actually push further, discovering Greenland. Yes, this is Greenland. This island is Greenland. This is not Greenland. I kept saying this was Greenland in the last video. I'm so mad about that. But yeah, they will continue down. We'll have them actually discovering Greenland, the Irish. We'll see more Irish expansion before they take the entirety of Iceland. Iceland. This is Iceland. But we also see them make some claims on the barely habitable regions of the already not habitable Greenland. But yeah, they'll further their claims up here. Remember, these are like kind of their own tribes forming their own mostly autonomous reaches in these regions. So yeah, it's not like it's like one big empire. It's more of just an Irish kingdom, Irish confederation. We'll call them just Ireland. It's easier. Let's see how big they are. They are 7,000 pixels. Okay. The Cacavelians, let's check again. They're 38. They're about 39,000. The Radu are 90,000. Oh my god. The Baikal are 60,000. Wow. Chinese are 35,000. Remember, size does not mean their strength. Because obviously, I would say the strongest country on Earth right now, probably China. But then again, they're under like a really bad like disease outbreak right now, so I'd say Solaria maybe. Persia is 40,000, almost exactly 40,000. Okay. Over here on the border of Baikal and Ruhr, we will see an actual military invasion of Archer. Remember Archer horsemen just invading into Ruhr, into its core territories, and taking this major city, which is a lot of them are falling apart because they're kind of in like an area of just confusion because there's just a massive disease taking their nations by storm. So yeah, we will see a massive front open up over here. And Roar is not weak, but it's just that they really don't have the cohesion to fight against this right now. They will also begin to invade the Chinese, taking this major city with relative ease and pushing further down into China. They will actually come very close to the more prosperous regions before being stopped by the Chinese military, who will bring upon a full frontal force, just crushing a lot of the Baikal Khanate. Roar will also try to push back, trying to take this city, but thanks to their lower population, they really never had a chance and are being pushed back into this kind of horn over here, which gets cut off from the rest of Roar. The Baikal Khanate will continue their way inward before basically just saying, okay, this is enough, and annexing the regions they want to annex, basically without any peace treaty, because they don't really care about that stuff. So we will see them annex all of this region. It all goes to them. It is all taken away from Roar, which they are going absolutely insane right there. They are so mad about this because this random giant just nation just came in here and took it from them. Baikal will also just do the exact same thing here, making basically their own agreement without an agreement here, taking all of this region and this region. So as you can see, Baikal is actually becoming very, very powerful right now. I would say probably maybe more powerful than the Radu, possibly. Because this is probably one of the biggest golden cities on Earth. I would say it's the biggest. This is probably the second biggest, and this might be the third. But this is probably the biggest, most powerful, rich one. But they also have sea access, so they have sea trade, a lot of fish over here in the Arabian Desert. It's been a very quiet place. Not much has happened, but we will see a tribe begin to take control and spread out, bordering the Egyptians. As you can see, we'll look at the ethnicity layer. They are part of this pink Arab ethnicity. So we will see this kind of Arab union begin to make a name for itself at its capital. But yeah, it will become rather prominent despite, it's just kind of odd for such an old region, at least to humanity in the series, to now become so lively with such large trading networks between these kind of Bedouin tribal people. Oh, sorry about that. They will kind of hug the border before meeting up over here and taking this entire southern region. So they have basically formed a major empire in very low amount of time. But then again, it's very sparsely populated, so they just kind of run around being like, join the Union. Very reminiscent of something that happened in the exact same area at the exact same time in the 1600s. But shut up. Something I want to mention about them, though, is that they're rather clean. So when the bubonic plague comes in, they actually will be barely affected because they actually have cleanliness techniques in stopping the bubonic plague. So as you can see, this whole major trade regions will be taken by the disease. Over here, we will actually see the bubonic plague, this little strife of luck that the Solari had, will now end as the bubonic plague begins to spread into India. As it spreads further and further into Egypt, it will get over here into Lebanon, taking the entirety of it, including their island of Cyprus, and will go down the Levant into major cities in the Levant before going down into these Arab regions, killing and killing many, many Egyptians. I'm just realizing now that the color thing was open. I'm so sorry about that. I It's really annoying. I'm sorry about that. Anywho, this kind of caliphate that's forming will begin to invade Egyptian regions, taking this kind of Hejaz area and moving up into more of Egypt. They will even take this city and go up further towards Levant and Sinai Peninsula. That being said, the Egyptians will arm their men and take these kind of more urban regions along the shore with that city, pushing back the Arabs in their conquest. Oh, that's the wrong color. I should really be just putting their actual color here because they're regaining their own land. Up here, the Machiavellians will actually begin an operation to navally invade Tunisia. That's right. They've been waiting for this. But you know who else has been waiting for them to become occupied with something else? These guys. As you can see, there's a lot of major alliances here. We have the Triangle Alliance, the Heart Alliance, the Diamond Alliance, and the Tri-Star Alliance. The Triangle Alliance will now gather their men, readying up to now invade Egypt. In Tunisia, the naval invasion will succeed, taking this kind of Carthage city and pushing into the Egyptian regions of, just North Africa. And they will continue on and on, crushing the very slim Egyptian military as they're focused on this massive caliphate that is beginning to take a lot of their land over here, which is pretty valuable land. With that being said, the distracted Egyptians will now see the Byzantines begin their own invasion. This actual region will basically just leave and join because they are ethnically Byzantine. So they will basically just leave, allowing them to have an easy port in just taking the rest of this kind of Libyan region up here and reaching over and beginning to try to encircle the city over here. Lebanon will actually begin their own invasion. They will begin to take this region and actually succeed for a bit because they've been building their military. As small as they are, they're in a pretty rich region. They have a whole island on their own, and they will continue down into the Levant. Forces from Morocco will help the Egyptians in pushing back the Machiavellians from this city and trying to take the rest of Carthage before pretty much just failing as the Machiavellians begin to slip further down into this city, which they take, and cutting off this entire region, which comes under their full control. That being said, Egypt doesn't just lose, so they will begin to push back on the Arabs, who will definitely take a lot of casualties. But seeing that they have even worse enemies invading them, they will begin the counteroffensive on these three nations. Over here, they will begin to force the Byzantines back into their kind of vantage point with the ethnically Greek populations, which they kind of need to win this war now, because if they don't, I cannot see a good ending for the Byzantines here. I cannot see a good ending for them. Over here in Lebanon, they will crush the Lebanese like crazy. They will absolutely flatten them and just they will remove them essentially. Honestly, the Lebanese probably should have just stayed out of this war because they had a strife of good luck there, barely. Let me fix that and make it a little clearer. They had a little thing of luck here for lasting so long. It lasted for probably 1,000 years now, maybe, as a city-state. But yeah, the Egyptians will take their capital and invade and occupy all of Cyprus. Yeah. Not good. Not good at all. The Arabs will continue retaking the city. Actually, I'm not sure if they had that before. They might have. I believe they did. But they will continue up and up, coming into Sinai, which is, I'm pretty sure, kind of deserty, before coming around and taking this entire desert region of Egypt. As they do that, they'll also expand their actual borders to meet with these regions, just because it kind of just makes sense for them to. But they will continue to buff out their borders and will look a bit like this. Over here, though, this will officially create the Great War of 1652. We will see the Radu begin a true invasion, not skirmishes, a true horseman invasion of Persia. Coming over into this Afghan region, they will absolutely demolish every single Persian force here. They will absolutely crush them. They will continue their way, continuing on and on and on into more Persian regions before reaching down over here. And really just, they're really absolutely just crushing the Persians. They'll also make official add-ons onto their nation over here. This probably happened a while ago. I just kind of forgot to add it. But yeah, they'll be adding a bit more over here. So these are probably I believe these are Slavs over here. Oh no, these are all Radu people. So I guess they're just kind of recruiting more of their own ethnic group into their empire. There we go. So they're much bigger now. They are officially the largest country. Let's see how big they are. Their current officially implemented parts of their empire, they are 120,000. Wow. Okay, that is humongous. Over here in North Africa, the Machiavellian Republic will continue their fight in Africa against the Egyptians. Really just hammering in over here. They're going absolutely crazy. But the fun doesn't last forever. These men who are still up here blockading the immigrants from the Slavic regions, remember, they're still here. The Italian troops, these Italian troops came into Africa, but these guys are still here. There's nobody here. There's nobody here. These Illyrians, Transylvania, sorry about that. The Transylvanians will begin to invade into the Machiavellian Republic. And they will absolutely demolish some of these states, or not states, cities, meeting up with the Adriatic Sea, for the first time in history, actually, as the Venetians actually had control of this all throughout history so far. They will take all of these Albanian regions under their control. So this is a massive, massive shift in the balance of power. The troops of the Machiavellian Republic will now move down into Illyria. As they move, more immigrants will move in. Seeing this, the remaining troops here will begin to kill the immigrants. They will actually kill them. All the immigrants who basically came in here after the troops left, most of them, the remaining troops will kill them. Seeing this, we will see a humongous mass military come in. This is the combined military strength of these three, not to mention the naval superiority of the Fedonians. We will see a humongous crush, taking the city probably within a week, just crushing through. It will be a massive front, encompassing, they will take the city, it will encompass the entirety of their border as it begins to move through the Machiavellian borders into this city right here. They will pull nearly every single troop from Egypt out, basically forcing the Byzantines to fight this battle on their own. They will keep this region, but obviously the Egyptians are not focused on this. They're focused on the Arabs and the Byzantines. The Byzantines falter a bit. Their claims are they're definitely struggling with the Egyptian military. The Arabs will continue up, taking the city, and I believe this is, what is that lake called again? I forgot. But they will continue up into the Levant before squeezing the Egyptians like that, but not taking any coast, because they get pushed back by the coastals. They will take kind of this what's it called? The eastern region of the Nile River. They will push on that, taking it for themselves. Back over in Persia, it's not pretty at all. For as powerful as the Persians were, this disease has really struck them the worst out of anyone. They have been absolutely just demolished by the disease. So we will see the Persians basically being, they kind of look like when they be like the story, like the whole thing began, they really are being pushed back. So we will actually see the Radu completely take their continental borders. Not, however, their island. Because remember, these guys are situated on this island here. Basically, what I'm saying is the Radu will annex all of Persia. Every part of Persia is now annexed by the Radu. So the whole the global order is now shifting completely. It is shifted completely. They leave the island, but it is completely shifted. Everything, it is completely different now. As Gondwana pushes its borders out even more, they will actually meet up with the Radu, who push out their borders, beginning the Gondwanan-Radu War. Pushing into India, they will absolutely push the Gondwanans back, crushing them. The bubonic plague is now becoming immensely it is absolutely is rushing into the Indian continent. It's bad. It's very, very bad. The disease will continue into Salaria, into central India, encompassing all of it, and eventually making its way to the core regions of Gondwana. It will push further into Mesopotamia, encompassing this Kurdistan nation. All of this coming up into Azerbaijan, even into the Caucasus, and into the borders of Pontus. Oh my god, there's so much happening. Oh my god, there's a lot happening. This is hard to keep up with. Over here, we will actually see the Pomeranians. Oh, wrong thing. The Pomeranians, they will take this city, and they will further push out their fight against the Cacavellian Republic. The Cacavellians, though, are not only, bad luck struck, they will actually begin to push into and take this kind of Austrian region, maybe, of Transylvania, including this city. The Byzantines, surprising basically everyone, will actually begin to push back on the Egyptians, who are really faltering. Along with this war, the Radu will begin another war, rushing in to Kurdistan, taking the city, and really just hammering in. Remember, these are all just mountains. These are really pretty sparsely populated, so they will crush through with their horsemen before surrounding this lake and cutting their city off from their main nation. So they will have two factions focusing on this northern and southern front. The northern front will succeed greatly, taking they will take all of their nation, before their southern front also has great success, taking and taking and taking, before finally sieging their city. They will annex all of Kurdistan. Oh man, as you can see, there's major changes going on right now in the world, man. This is getting kind of crazy. Over here in Gondwana, despite the spread of disease, the Gondwanans will actually push them out. And the Radu will actually give up entirely on this front. They will basically just sit back. We'll fix this border a bit. Back over here, we will see the Radu continue to declare war, and they will declare war on Egypt. They will come up the rivers of Mesopotamia, rushing in and taking these lakes here, before they're really just pushing and pushing. Remember, their military is scrambling. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 fronts not including the fifth one, which they essentially have won. But they have 4 major fronts, and mind you, disease is spreading rapidly through the empire. They have no way to combat it. The Arabs are encroaching on their capital rapidly, and the Byzantines are winning. Obviously, this whole region is kind of at a standhold, kind of, but yeah. The Radu will continue their fight forward, taking the city. They have no regard. They will burn everything they need to win. As they jump forward, they will continue their fight further and further. Oh, sorry about that. Further and further. Before meeting up with their Lebanese claim right here. And coming down into the Levant, taking the city, and meeting up with the Arabs. They will even take Lebanon. But they will not take this part of Lebanon. So luckily for Lebanon, they will actually be given freedom on the island of Cyprus, which was basically as much Lebanon as Lebanon is to Lebanon. So it's basically Lebanon. So we'll just call them Cyprus for now. But, well, no, we'll call them Lebanon. Lebanon is alive, but their major region, which is their, core region, is being occupied. The Radu will actually push onto the Arabs, even, continuing to crush down on both militaries, who are both really surprised by the sudden attack from a bunch of people from, what country is even there? I think Russia controls that lake, does it? I forgot. No, it doesn't control that lake. I think Kazakhstan, maybe? Well, whoever does, a bunch of people from here are now here. Alright, stepping away from the mass death and destruction, we're actually going to start 2 new African nations, because I probably should have done this a while ago. But yeah, over here in Ethiopia, we'll start a nation. Oh, wrong thing. We'll start a nation. That's too similar to that. Let's change the color. That's better. We'll start a nation, and we'll just call it Ethiopia, and we'll have it come up here, take the little island, and meet up with Yemen right here. So that'll be rather powerful. Oh, how calming it is to do this, honestly. Over here, though, we'll have a nation right kind of in this Nigeria area. We'll have them start right here. I'll actually have another one form on this island, and we'll have them kind of look like this. But yeah, let's give them their capitals. Boom, boom, and boom. There we go. Now, back to death and destruction. The Radu will now begin to invade Pontus. No, but everybody's catching strays. Everyone. Not one person gets to live. Mind you, they're also bringing in a lot of settlers from Central Asia, a lot of Radu settlers. So they're also occupying a lot of these regions with their own people and families of their own nation. So they will actually begin to shoot forward and touch the Black Sea into this kind of Georgia region over here, and push forward into this region, cutting off this entire area contiguously. But luckily for the Caspians, they actually have good cohesion when it comes to this type of thing. That being said, the Radu will rush further in. What I meant by cohesion, mind you, was they just have good communication. They can have enclaves that are humongous, but still kind of keep them. But yeah, they will continue to shoot forward, taking this entire area, cutting them off entirely. So now the Byzantines are scared of the Radu who are coming in over here. Back over here with the Arabs, they will actually invade Qatar. Yes, that's right. They will invade Qatar. Further, I mean, I don't even know what I have to say. They just basically crush Qatar, other than the actual peninsula, which remains under Qatari. Because remember, this is a very fortified city. This is the oldest city on planet Earth, so it's very fortified. Back over at this front, they will continue on and on into the Pontus empire until the Pontics will actually agree to make a deal with the Radu, and the Radu will actually accept. So the deal will look like this. The Radu really screwed the Pontics over. They will take all of that, basically making a new staging ground to attempt to take Byzantine. Now seeing this new Radu threat, the Byzantines will basically take all of their men out of Egypt. They have to, because this is much more of a threat than the Egyptians are. That being said, the Arabs will continue down into the Nile. Now they have really just taken the Nile River. They will come in here before beginning to actually spread out from their main reaches along the Nile River. So they will basically take all of southern Egypt. Along with these claims over here, they will actually push up into these deserts, along with this oasis over here. But the Radu will officially rush into Egypt, taking the very, very guarded capital city. Well, not the capital, sorry. These very, very guarded three cities over here, before actually moving down along the Nile and crushing the Arab-controlled regions and buffing out their own. The Arabs will annex this and this region of Qatar and these, making Qatar basically almost a city-state at this. Well, actually, no, it's not a city-state. Qatar literally looks like that in real life. But yeah, they will. Yeah, no, if Qatar really is nothing now, it's the oldest country on Earth. Luckily, they didn't take the entire thing though. But yeah, the Radu will continue on and on through the deserts of Africa, taking this major city, coming in over here. This whole region was a battlefront, so it's extremely weakened. They will take it within a week. In fact, they will take it within a week. They will begin to crush through more and more of the African front, taking more and more before meeting the Machiavellians. Back over here, though, after months and months of sieging the city, they will officially take Alexandria, the capital of the Egyptians. They'll push back on some Arab nations before taking these major cities and meeting up here. But other than that, they really won't focus too much on the Arabs, as the Arabs are taking basically everything they wanted to here. They really just destabilized Egypt for the Radu to come in and take control. Over here, the Triangle Alliance between the Machiavellians and the Byzantines will now move their men to be ready for the Radu threat. Pontus, on the other hand, is fully neutral. That being said, the Machiavellians, in their own homeland, will take back their land, at least some of it, before continuing on into Transylvania, taking this major city. Along the Pomeranian front, it is not looking good, though, as the Pomeranians push further and further, taking this major city, which I believe they were actually spearheading towards, or trying to, maybe it was this one. They will continue taking this city as well, rushing forward, and now taking up the entire front. Over here in Machiavellian-controlled Tunisia, the Radus will actually push forward, rushing. They really are just a very, I mean, the whole world is in shambles right now, and they're really taking good advantage of it. They will take all three major cities of Machiavellian-controlled Tunisia before moving on to their next target, which is Morocco. They will shoot forward, taking this major city and this desert over here. Morocco will actually just immediately, without question, surrender to the Radu. Immediately. They will immediately surrender to them. Now all of Europe is really feeling, or at least most of Southern Europe especially, are really feeling this threat. Now even the Almeridians are fearing the threat of the Radu. But over here, this will be a very, very big war. The Radu will rush into... This will probably be one of the bloodiest battles in the history of the war so far. They will fight the Radu with immense, like they will just go crazy on them. And even then, the Radu will take this entire area before beginning to push, taking this city and attempting to take that city before what looks like a glimmer of hope. The Radu are actually pushed back by Europeans. The Europeans actually push the Radu back, which is basically never seen. The only nation to defeat the Radu so far are the Gondwanans. They're still kind of at the stalemate with the Arabs. I mean, they're definitely getting more wins on the Arabs than the Arabs have on them. But they will now be pushed back, taking this city here before really just crushing their military force. That being said, the Radu will attempt to do what they did with Pontus and make a peace deal. The Byzantines will not agree, as they continue to push back, attempting to retake this city here. The Khan of the Radu, the Khan, the Great Khan, we'll call him Pataradu, the father of the Radu. Pataradu makes his way personally to the Byzantines, and he begins his own invasion with the top elite military, absolutely rushing the very, very fortified and old nation of Byzantine. This entire region over here taken as he continues to push forward, spearheading towards this city right here. Along the Adriatic, he will continue his invasions, taking this island here, attempting to take Rhodes, but failing, as they're not as good at naval warfare as the others. But he will continue on here, before expanding the battle up here in a new front. This whole kind of, I think it's Bursa, maybe? I think it's where Bursa is. This whole region will be taken before they meet up with the probably second most fortified capital in the world. They will continue to push out their front before taking this half of the Bosporus. Let's actually turn off capital so we can actually see the city. They will make further incursions in this region before the Byzantines will finally be able to push them back. After pushing them back a good bit, the Radu and the Byzantines will finally be like, all right, let's make that peace deal, because I don't want to deal with this anymore. This has been the most grueling war of the Great War, the global Great War. We'll call it the Old War, the Old World War. This is, oh, that's a better name. Okay, restart. This is actually going to be called the Old World War. The Old World War. Yes, that's very nice. I'm very smart. I'm proud of that. The peace deal to the most abhorrent, destructive, and deadly front of the Old World War will look like this. This is the peace deal. They will annex all of this region. Jesus Christ. They're... Wow. When it comes to Egypt and Morocco, they will annex all of Egypt and all of Morocco. The Arabs will also annex Hejaz and Lower Egypt. And finally, continental Lebanon will be annexed. Their capital will be moved. There we go. That is what it will look like. So all of this land is now under the authority of the Khan of the Radu. Over here, we will see essentially just, a split off of who gets what land between the Radu and the Arabs. The Radu won't get much land over here. It's kind of gonna go like this. Although they'll bring out their claims a bit, not by much, and the Arabs will get that. So that is basically the end of the Asian front. The Old World War is now over in Asia, but it is continuing to happen here in Europe as the Pomeranians continue on taking this city and enlarging their front. Remember, the Pomeranian front is a combination of all 4 of these states. Over here, I want to mention though, this whole front is a combination of these 3 states. That being said, we will actually see a new front from the Fedonians over in Scotland. We will see them begin to seize these Scottish lands and take this kind of provincial capital right here. They'll make their way down this region before taking this kind of like thick river kind of looking thing here. I'm not actually sure what that is. And overall, the Cacavellians, or like many others, are scrambling. Funnily enough, we will actually see more fronts within the Cacavellian Republic open up. Don't forget the ethnic map. 2 new fronts will open up in Switzerland and Catalonia. Now, these members, they were actually basically informed through letters to begin their invasions. And essentially, they smuggled a lot of these, they smuggled weapons to these people. As you can see over here, we're going to see this group begin their own invasions. And they'll kind of like run through the Alps, I guess, through horses. It's not that, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are dying, but obviously they will meet up. And this is going to cause major issues for the Cacavellians. They will meet up with them over here. Luckily, though, now that their enemy is done focusing on the Radu, the Byzantines can actually help them. So we will actually see the regaining of the Albanian regions with the help of the Byzantines in the Triangle Alliance, I believe. You will see them retake this city as well and fully push out the Transylvanians. Over here, though, in this kind of Paris region, we will see a new rebel group within the Cacavellian Republic form. This will be known as Grimton. These are the Grimmish people. They are made by my partner, Zoe. So they will begin their own kind of front. And they don't actually have a side. They are not on the side of the Pomeranians. They're basically these Germanic people attempting to regain their land and have independence from the Cacavellian ethnic group, or the Venetian ethnic group. They will come down into Brittany, taking this entire region and continuing their like deep European expansion. Finally, over here, the Pomeranians will close off here and cut them off entirely. The Cacavellians cut them off entirely from their British colony. As the Fedonians continue their assault inward, we will see another rebel group form here in Wales, kind of like the Avalon region. I believe this is where Avalon is in the myths and stuff. We will see a new nation. Let's call them Avalon. I think Avalon is a cool name. Yeah, they'll take up Cornwall, and they will begin their own invasions into the main Cacavellian regions. Over here, we will see another rebel group form fighting against the Pomeranian troops. They are known as the Guslanders, or Gusland, made by my friend Alex. And they will come all the way out here and attempt to take this land. They actually do not want to take any more land other than this. They're rather docile. They just want their own independence. I think they'll get this much land, and this is all they want. The Grenadins, now seeing the opportunity to strike and reclaim a lot of their own ethnic groups' boundaries, will begin to, well, they won't begin, they'll just take this entire region, and they will then begin their actual front over here. That was pretty easy to take. But they will take their entire front trying to reclaim their ethnic regions. They go further up into Iberia. Over in the Transylvanian front, the Cacavellians are really making damage on the Transylvanians, despite being more powerful than these three, and Fedonians. They actually really are having trouble fighting against the Cacavellians, because I guess they just know the same traditional warfare. And also remember, they were not ready for this this, especially this. Speaking of this group, they will begin to go along this mountain range, I forgot what it's called, and go into this kind of Basque region over here and cut off this entire area. They will then take this and this before claiming all of it as these kind of governors surrender to them. The Venetians will see some pushback, taking this capital of this group, but remember they're kind of guerrilla warfare group, so that really doesn't do much. They might push back a bit, but it really does not help all that much. Grimton now makes its push into the further like Gallic French regions of the Cacavellian Empire, really just crushing in as the Cacavellians, they're all over the place. There are so many nations attacking at once that it's like impossible for them to really do anything here. The Fedonians will then make another landing, taking this city. They'll make another landing different than this one into Britain, and they will then surrender to the Fedonian Empire. These governors on this, the governors on this British Cacavellian colonial claim. Over here, the Pomeranians will attempt to actually make negotiations with Grimton, but instead, Grimton will invade Pomerania, absolutely crushing them by surprise, and then coming up over here. With this, the Pomeranians, a bit scared to have to fight more enemies, will promise Grimton more regions if they just have peace between each other and help with the war. Grimton will agree. They will agree with this this choice, and will continue their front. They will shoot down, taking this region over here, and really all of these ethnically Germanic regions over here will surrender to Grimton. Making another climb through the Alps, the Pomeranians will finally begin to make a true incursion onto the capital of Cacavellia. Something I probably should have worked on a while ago, I will admit, was the ethnicity map. Now, we will actually see the formation of, well, sorry for that. We will see the Radu actually expand their ethnic group. Not really through ethnic cleansing per se, kind of just the fact that, like, you know, like I said, it's kind of like and like over time they just kind of, I forgot the word. Assimilate, that's the word. They will assimilate these people into the kind of Radu ethnic group. So we'll see a lot of these Caspians be kind of assimilated. Further Radu expansion into these kind of steppe regions, not ethnically cleansing. They're not really ethnically cleansing anyone. Just that they're kind of just forming groups, essentially. But yeah, into these steppe regions, we will see them form more over here. Come over here. Over time, just assimilating all of these peoples into their whatever religion they have. I'm not really doing religion, but whatever religion they have, and also overall just their culture. So as you can see, they've really done a lot of work here, even coming in here a bit in this Azerbaijan area and taking this kind of steppe region that they have over here. Yeah, they've really made a humongous impact ethnically. Even over here in Morocco and Tunisia, they will begin to assimilate a lot of these people. Remember, this is happening over years of occupation and just overall expansion, cultural knowledge being shared. But as you can see, they are really, really making a difference here. Even in the capital of Morocco, we will see the ethnicity shift from this kind of Berber ethnic group to the Radu. Over here an Albanian revolt will begin, despite them being like ethnically Byzantine, and the Byzantines having good relations with the Cacavellians. They will, in fact, still revolt and kind of take this region right there. Back over here, the Pomeranians will continue to spread out, coming to this city and taking it fully. But back over here, they will encircle the capital, and they will attempt to siege it. And for months, they will tear at the walls. But, unfortunately for them, they are incapable of fighting the Cacavellian city. Basically, this is a grand city. I'd say it's probably the third most fortified. First, second, third. And they are able to make a major pushback finally on the men of the Pomeranians. With that, though, the Pomeranians and the Cacavellians will finally come to an agreement on ending the war. Now, let's see this peace agreement. This will include the entirety of the Tri-Star Alliance. It will include the Byzantines. It will include this Albanian. It kind of looks like the Byzantines are controlling that. They're not. It will include this nation that's forming. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Okay, so the peace treaty of the European front of the Old World War will look a little something like this. We will have the Albanians gaining their independence, but first, let's focus on the Cacavellians, who have one minuscule gain despite how much territory of the Transylvanians they had under their rule. They will take that. The Albanians will be gaining full independence from the Cacavellians. Oh my god, it's like sad to look at this. Jesus Christ. We will see the Grenadins annex this and this, making them basically double their size. We will see an entirely new nation, we'll call it Catalonia, which is ethnically led by Slavs, have their own independence. We will have this might be exciting for some people, but we will have the German Confederation back. That's right. That is the original German Confederation. Very nice for them. They even have their original city, which we'll make that their capital when we get to that. Over here in Britain, we see a very, very crazy oh, wow. It's kind of crazy. We will have Avalon take this region. Then we'll have this kind of pink area take this, while the Fedonian Empire takes the Scottish regions, along with like the Northumbria region. And then finally, we'll have this different nation that is in fact led by ethnic Cacavellians, but also kind of has a large population of these Fedonians. We will see them become their own nation as well. Over here we have Gusland, which is obviously, like I said, made by my friend Alex. But they really don't make much difference other than this. They're a pretty small nation. Right here, we have the largest expansion. This is Grimton, and they now are probably the largest nation to come out of this whole agreement here. They are absolutely massive. We'll actually also have the Swiss country from the original rebellion from the German Confederation form. They were taken over by the Cacavellians during the rebellion, but here they are now. And the winner, the mighty winner, Pomerania will gain this land, essentially making them kind of like Germany, honestly. But Pomerania has now the entirety, Europe's balance of power has shifted entirely. It looks completely unrecognizable. Same with Asia, honestly. It also looks unrecognizable. Like, everything looks so different. Anywho, let's move to capitals. Over here, this will be the capital of Catalonia, right there. In Grimton, this will be their capital. This They will actually oh, sorry about that. They will regain their original capital, which was right here. This kind of London will be the capital of England. We'll just call it England. Avalon's capital will be right here. This nation's capital, oh, they need a capital. We'll put it right here. Let's also put their major city here. Back to capitals. This will be Gusland's capital. The Swiss nation actually needs to make a capital. We'll put their capital right here. Over in Albania, their capital will be right here. And yeah, I believe that's the most of it. That is officially the end of the Old World War. Jesus Christ, so much has changed. Wow. That is crazy. Speaking of major changes, we will actually see Tibet being discovered by the Radu, who will actually make their way to colonize the region. That is right. They are going to. This is probably happening. This would have been happening during the Old World War. They probably would have been doing this over time, kind of conquering these folk religion people. Maybe like, they got their own thing going on, but they will officially over here. I think I'll just make the way it looks. But yeah, they will come all the way down here, meeting up with Gondwana. Let's actually fix up this border because that would not be how it looks. We'll have Gondwana come out a bit more and take these fertile regions again because it just kind of makes sense. Because they would not be invading Gondwana through these mountains because it'd be essentially impossible to do that. So yeah, there we go. That is the end of the Old World War, and this is the Radu Empire. They have officially become an empire. I think it's pretty obvious. Up over here, we'll have them expand into these kind of Russian regions, also into the Caucasus, meeting up with this region. But yeah, we'll have them just further go up into these regions before coming down here. Yeah, they're kind of on like a peaceful, I guess Potteradu is dead. The original Khan is dead. Maybe his son is ruling. No, definitely his son is ruling now. So it's definitely a lot more peaceful. So we're just going to see a lot more expansion into these Russian regions over here. These Caucasian regions will also be taken. And Poland will push their claims out further right there. There we go. They become quite large. Estonia, too, will bring out their claim. Or not Estonia, sorry. Livonia will bring out their claims. With that, the Radu will finally come up here before taking the rest of this. And now pretty much all of Europe, other than Scandinavia and this kind of region up here, which doesn't really matter right now, is taken. So yeah, this is officially the map of the world after the Old World War. As you can see, wow. Yeah, no, a lot has changed, man. That is insane. Look how humongous. I'm surprised. I'm making this, and I'm surprised how big these guys are. They are 302,000, 303,000 pixels. Wow, they are definitely the largest in history so far. Baikal is 75,000. The Arabs are 51,000, which I mean there's not that much going on in their country. There's not that much population other than Egypt. Grimton is 11,000 and Pomerania is 10,000 and a half. Oh, let's see. Cacavelia. You are 11,000 pixels. But how unfortunate, man. Damn, you had a good streak going on though, I will admit. They were doing good. But yeah, I think honestly this is a good place to end the video. Yeah, honestly, I think this is just I think it's pretty good. I think this is the best place to end it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe. I really want to keep pumping these out. Leave suggestions in the comments of what you want to see. But yeah, overall, can't say it enough. Thank you so much for watching.